Hello there. Have you ever thought it possible for you to get capital for a business without collateral? It is very much possible. On this channel, I get to speak more and share tips on how you can acquire capital when you don't have collateral. I know it's a stumbling block for a lot of you. Whether you're a startup or an established business, it's very difficult for you to acquire loan or to acquire funding for a business, for you to scale or for you to start. But in this video, I'm going to share two things that have caused you to fail to get capital even when collateral was not really needed. So now, here's the thing. You must understand that it's not always the issue of collateral that's important. So when you stick with this video, you understand how you can get capital even when you don't have collateral. So I'm going to share these two things. So now the first thing that you have not gotten right is the issue of not understanding what value is. So in other words, we are saying the problem now that a lot of business owners have is the issue of a misunderstanding what value is. So listen, I'm going to explain on what I mean by what misunderstanding what value is. Now, I'm just going to share a story of mine that's going to help you illustrate, that's going to help you understand. It's going to illustrate what value is, and it's going to help you understand what my point is about. So now, I remember this at the time when I was staying in this other city, and in that city, water was a problem at the time. It was a crisis, it became a crisis, to such an extent that you would go maybe say for more than 10 days without getting water on your taps. So storing water became something that was very, very, very important. So this other day, as I was walking in town, that is in the CBD, I came to a shop, as a matter of fact, I came to a shop that sold buckets. And when I saw buckets, and knowing that buckets were selling out at this point in time, during that period, you couldn't get buckets. Whenever they would be available, people would buy them like hotcakes and they would be sold out in no time. So when I got to this shop, I came and there were buckets in that shop. When I saw the bucket and I asked for the price, what price it was, and then I was told that it was going for $2. And then I was surprised for something that was that precious unto me, because it was a 20-liter bucket, but at the time, $2 for me was not, like that bucket was not worth $2 according to what I perceived as the value of the bucket. So I was happy to fork out the $2 to buy a bucket, because to me, I knew that having a 20-liter bucket would help me store water for a longer period whilst we're waiting for water to start coming out again from our taps. So it was that valuable. That's how worthy a bucket was. It was worth more than the $2 that I had. So I was happy to pay $2 without having any pain of some sort. So for me at the time, $2 would buy me 2 loaves. And that meant that 2 loaves of bread. So that meant for me, I would, if I had that option, the option of buying 2 loaves of bread, that I was going to eat for 2 days. And then later on, I would have forgotten about it. But now, having a bucket now was much more precious, was much more important, because I would have this bucket storing water for a longer period of time. And whenever I'm storing water using this bucket, it will be so valuable. It was going to save me a great deal, because during this period of time, it was a struggle for you to go fetch water from wherever you would find the water coming out from the taps. So it was a real hassle. So buying a bucket for $2 really saved me from that pain. So in the same sense, I want you to look at it from the same thing, from the same principle. When you go out there, when you go out to pitch your ideas, as long as you don't understand what value is and who values what in that transaction that you want to enter, then you are going to miss it. Because in this case, I was happy to pay the $2. That would make the person who was selling these buckets happy as well. They were happy to receive the $2 and give me a bucket. And to them, the bucket was worth less than the $2 that they were charging, definitely, because they factored in the issue of profitability. So now it was a happy transaction. So now the problem is, with most of you, when you go there, when you go maybe say to an investor or to the people that you already know who have the money, that are capable of investing in your business or are capable of putting the money into your business, you don't understand what they value, right? So when you go in this way and you're only looking at what you value yourself, then you're going to miss the point. Because when you go with your idea, when you go with your business idea to an investor, you have to now know what is it that they value. How much do they value that which you think they are valuing? And what does it mean to them when you give them that opportunity? And what does that opportunity really mean for them in terms of what they value? So for some investors, they have monetary value. So you need to know, do they have that? Do they value money more? By money, we're looking at profitability. So if it's going to give them more money, then you need to understand this. And when you pitch your idea, you have to bring this out to them so that they understand that your idea is going to give them more money. And if it is a derivative value, then you need to understand what that value is. And when you pitch your idea, you don't assume that they value money more than other things. You need to understand. So if you don't understand what value is, especially to the person who has the money, that is the investor, then you're going to fail. So it can be even banks. If you don't know what banks value, then you're going to have a challenge getting loans from the banks. So a lot of you people, you misunderstand what value is. What, like in the example that I've given, the example of a bucket, what I valued as an individual is different from what the shop owner valued. The shop owner valued the money more than the bucket, and I valued the bucket more than the money. And in that case, it becomes a happy transaction. So the same applies when you value whatever you are valuing is not automatically what the other party, the investor values. So you need to understand these values, and in that way, you are certainly going to get money because you're going to communicate right. And then the second thing that you don't get right is when you are pitching for money from an investor, do not appeal to their mercy. So a lot of you want to pitch your idea in such a way that would make the investor feel pity for you, and you think that's how they get to invest in your ideas or in businesses. No, that's never the case. So when you are pitching your idea, you must pitch to the interest of the investor. Think about what are the interests of the investor. What are they exactly interested in? And when you know what they're interested in, then your pitch should be structured in such a way that will bring out that important things that the investor values. So it can be the banks, like I keep referring to banks because in many instances it is the bank that is always looking for collateral. So I'm saying these things because they apply across all entities. So it does not matter who the entity is, it does not matter who the person is, but for everyone who has the money, you should consider their interests. And when you know what their interests are, and then when you pitch, bring this out to them, make them understand that you have their interest at heart and not that they should give you money as a result of mercy. It's not how business works. It's never like that, because they understand that it is about money. And when they want things that have got to do with mercy, this is when there are things like philanthropy. So, and there are things like donations, there are things like other NGOs that are actually issuing out monies out there. So maybe you can try that. But when you're looking for an investor, when you're looking for someone who can invest, whether long term or short term, you should appeal to their interest, and that will get you money that you're looking for.